Thrones. Hi, I'm Claw Billie, and this is Hell of Thrones, a show in which I watch Game of Thrones against my will because I was paid $1,000 to do it so I wouldn't be homeless. 2020 is fun as shit. We're officially at the half. I hope you enjoyed the halftime show. It was really expensive. Time to start season this many. For 10 minutes, and then a Minions rendition of the Game of Thrones theme comes on, and then I have to stop talking. Here we Thrones! Someone at the beginning of this episode said, "You're not terrifying, you're boring." What a relatable line. At the beginning, I rolled my eyes and said, "Oh good, more characters," but thankfully it was a flashback. Cersei was prophesied. I love prophecies. Prophecies are the best thing in all television. I've talked about this in a previous episode. I hate prophecies. I have to talk about this. Enough of the little eye rocks when somebody dies. No more eye rocks. It looks goofy as shit. And Charles Dance, you know, this fine caliber of actor, just cracked me the fuck up with this big like, I could not pay attention. And Cersei and Jaime were like walking around the casket being all like, "Yes, our father was once a great noble," whatever the fuck. All I could see was him there just he looked like a Saturday morning cartoon character. "Hey kids, I'm Juggy Dance. Welcome to Westeros. Who wants to watch my family fuck?" White Rat goes to a brothel, and instead of wanting to do the typical sex that happens on this show, he just wanted some nice head scritches and to hear a little song. Oh, and it was so sweet. And then literally right when I was like, "Oh, that's nice. Something gentle and sweet on this show." Blood everywhere because this show hates you. Okay, a revelation hit me, a vision, a picture in my head, a picture of this. The fact that Game of Thrones is, wait for it, everybody observed this years ago, but I'm just getting here, a soap opera! That's the format of the show. And by the way, I'm qualified to talk about soap operas. I watched them with my dad. Yeah, he loved them, and I love watching them with him. We only had 3 channels, and it was on one of them. Days of Our Lives for Life. The Susan Years, hell yeah, I'm always down for some evil twin shit. Stefano, oh, awesome, loved it. So yeah, this show basically follows the format of a soap opera. The goal is just to keep the story going. There's a problem though. Soap operas are cheap. Soap operas are the cheapest television imaginable. They're just these little plain clothes sets. They're basically little plays. And it's just, you know, characters talking and kissing and kissing and talking and talking and kissing. It's always a really big deal when you see like a car blow up on a soap opera because that's a lot of budget. But now you're making a Lord of the Rings every week. Holy shit. So that's when it hit me. They're doing the soap opera format, but it's not sustainable because of the feature film budget. And I was gonna say that could never work. And then I remembered, there is a version where it works. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. So why does that one work and this one doesn't? Your mileage may vary on whether this one works or not. I think what it is each installment in the Marvel movies is its own self-contained story. Can you imagine taking everything from Iron Man to Endgame and re-editing it so you're seeing 5 minutes of each movie? That would drive me nuts. And that's what Game of Thrones does. The reason I like the episodes I like, at this point I think only 3 of them out of 4 seasons, is because those are the ones that told a self-contained story. And I know I go on about this forever, but genuinely, it makes things stick with you more. This may not work as well as a show. I mean, case in point, I'm having trouble remembering things, and friends tell me, oh, well, if you read the books. So yeah, I think the soap opera format with a feature film budget is not sustainable, and so it just crumbles under its own weight. Like, because it's something that you want a satisfying conclusion to. Did they nail it? I hear they nailed it. I meant to mention this in an earlier episode, but I forgot. There was a scene with Prince Oberon and Varys, and I remember thinking like, oh, hey, I'm really glad they have a scene. And I had the thought like, oh, I'm glad they got these two together. And then I thought of the phrase of, you know, oh, we need to get these two together. And that's when I realized it's more soap opera stuff. It's just switching around the characters, moving them across the board, seeing how they like bump up against each other or bump into each other. And that's what this show is. And like, it's starting to congeal for me. I think it's because so many characters have swapped off. You had the Hound with Arya for a while. Now you have Brienne with Podrick, which, by the way, I should have predicted this last season. Podrick and Brienne are going to fuck. They didn't set up Podrick being like a sex god for no reason. I think that's where this is going. I believe Podrick has either a really large dick or two dicks. So maybe we'll discover that Brienne has two vaginas. Episode 2, House of Black and White. Johnny got a promotion. Danny, some people don't like her. Drogon? There's a dragon named Drogon? Okay. So I'm sitting there watching the show, not caring about anything, and all of a sudden, my face lights up. Dr. Bashir! Dr. Bashir is a character from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, played by Alexander Siddig, and for a brief, shining second, I was like, memories of a show I like! It's Dr. Bashir! I can't wait to see him awkwardly hitting on Jadzia Dax when she's not interested in him. Okay, maybe Star Trek was never good either. But yeah, he's in this as he was talking to Prince Oberon's wife. And Oberon is House Martell, and he seemed like he had a connection to her, so he's probably something Martell. Plot-wise, what happened, there was an election, Jon Snow got a promotion, he won by 1 vote. The rickety old man, who's a different rickety old man from the other 2 rickety old men, whose names I don't know, gave him the final vote. So now he's King of the Wall, Captain of the Guard, Lord of the Manor, King of the House. I don't know. He's something big. He's a Night Watch. He's a Night Watch big boy now. I was zoning out on this one. I really enjoy Dany as a queen. Like, it's kind of interesting when there's, like, you know, good rulers in this show, good leadership. One of the reasons that I zone out during episodes is because I have no incentive to pay attention. And I know you might be thinking, well, you get to hear some crackling, thrilling dialogue, and sure, if you like that sort of thing. I like crackling, thrilling dialogue, I just don't consider this to be it. But I have no incentive to pay attention because guess what? In the episode where whatever they were talking about is relevant, it starts with a recap. Previously on Game of Thrones. It's Pavlovian conditioning. If I zone out during a speech and I go, oh fuck, shit, that was probably important. Probably, but like the one important line from it will come back. They're gonna repeat it. So I feel like now that I've realized this, I'm gonna pay attention even less than I already am. I've had a concept in my head for a few episodes now, and I haven't had the chance to really talk about any of them, but since this episode was such a nothing to me, I think now's a good time. I know I talk about Star Trek way too much, but we're gonna jump over to something else that I really love in my television, and that is sitcoms. I feel like sitcoms do really good at, here are, 8 to 15 characters. They all have a very distinct personality. One could say it's very oversimplified because it's usually just one personality trait turned all the way up. But there's efficiency in sitcoms. Like, you kind of know the character as soon as you start the episode just because you've seen previous episodes, and then they can just get to saying the fun dialogue things that are so fun about a sitcom. And would be fun about this show if I preferred micromanaging palace funding to jokes. There have been edits made online that if you cut all the jokes out of a sitcom, the plot is only about 2 minutes long. I have news for you. The same is true of Game of Thrones. If you cut down all the braggadocious speeches, the stuff you really need to know fits into about a minute. You know how I know that? Because they put it in the show at the beginning of the episode. Every single one starts with, listen, if you missed all the flavor text, here's the shit you actually need to know. So I have no incentive to pay attention. And one thing that entered my mind is, what if sitcoms were written like Game of Thrones? Example, on the American version of The Office, there's a Christmas episode. Jim gives Pam a teapot full of a bunch of specific items that are very special to their friendship. All you need to know is what's in the teapot. And then you go, oh, okay. There's even one thing where he says, the story behind this would take too long to explain. He puts it in anyway. The idea is that these are all things that have sentimental value between the two of them. That's great. I get this by the fact that he included them. If George R.R. Martin wrote this episode of The Office, there would be 5 episodes in front of it showing us all the moments that forged each object in symbolism to each other, and there would be a whole episode of Jim just going around gathering all the things. My love can only be shown if I obtain this sauce packet. I know, it's about personal preference. To me, it comes across as really, really inefficient storytelling. For everyone talking about how wildly complex this show is this background television? I don't even understand the concept. I actually really like shows that you have to like make time for and sit down and pay attention to and think about. But to me, I feel like the soap operatic nature of it always jumping from place to place is deliberately designed for you to go, ooh, Tyrion. I like Tyrion. I'm going to pay attention to Tyrion's part. By the way, I don't like Tyrion anymore. Why did he kill Shay? Because he's a piece of shit. Kind of like Jim. He doesn't understand the nature of their relationship, and he's a big shit about it. Alright, the timer's gonna run out. Good talking to ya. Mwah! Season 5, Episode 3, Hi Sparrow. Bye, Sparrow! You've noticed the camera angle has changed, or you haven't, maybe you're really unobservant. It's because my ass is killing me. I've been watching a season of television every day, going on day 5. I'm running out of ways to sit, so I'm leaning to one side. And I just tilted the camera because otherwise I would be off center, and we can't have that when we need to put incredibly important graphics on either side of my face. How would you be able to follow the show without this guy or this lady? Marjorie is the queen! Yay! I like her because she's pretty and wants to be queen. This is the end of the list of Marjorie traits, which is my problem with a lot of characters on the show. They have one thing going for them, and I'm supposed to attach myself to it if I'm to enjoy the show. Tommen has sex for the first time and is like, I want to do this all day, every day, for the rest of my life. You don't often openly see someone enjoying sex on this show, you know, without talking about it like it's a conquest. Marjorie and Cersei had a little meow cat fight, and I was all excited about that because now that I'm embracing that this is just a soap opera, that's what I want to see. More cattiness, more snark. That's what I like. I am from House Snark. Oh, Brienne had a sweet little moment about being made fun of as a youth, and I don't know what to add to that other than Brienne, I love you lumbering beast. I called it earlier, I'm calling it now. Podrick is gonna fuck her silly, and they're gonna be very happily in love. Unless the show's trying to be all clever and subvert that, and I don't know, right when she goes to sit on his massive monster cock, a mermaid will eat her head. I don't know. Something from off camera will kill her. Love and goth Sansa, hot look girl. Jon Snow seems to always show mercy. I find that interesting. I'm wondering if the show's thesis will be, hey, maybe be more like Jon. I don't know. It seems to be portrayed as weakness every time, but like, it's interesting when a show portrays one thing but means another. I'm trying to think of a good example. Rick and Morty.
I'm Pickle Rick!
I'm Pickle Rick! I'm Pickle Rick! I'm Pickle Rick! I know. Talking about Rick and Morty on the internet, I'm in trouble. But seriously, like, Rick and Morty is a good example of a show where, like, Rick Sanchez is a cynical nihilist, but the world around him isn't necessarily. And oftentimes, the show is rooting for Rick to get over his narcissism and try to forge like stronger connections with people, but Rick himself is not, and then viewers can interpret that in a different way should they be shitheads, I mean so choose. And I'm wondering if Game of Thrones is actually sort of trying to push a premise of like, be more like Jon. I mean, Daenerys is really good and wonderful all the time, but I'm not getting a sense from the show that it fully supports her good works. Oh, there's a character whose name I have not known for many seasons now. I just call him Wine Boy, because we saw him as Wine Boy. He was fucking Cersei for a bit. Guess he found religion? That whole scene with like the priest worshipping the seven ladies dressed like the seven gods or whatever. First of all, if you've never done religious roleplay, you're not doing sex right. It was interesting because like, oh, he's a priest, so what he's doing is shameful. But technically I know nothing about this world, so a little part of me was like, is this how their religion actually works? Sign me up. I feel like this whole episode I was like, oh fuck, I gotta talk about that, and now I'm like, what were all the things I had to talk about? I don't take notes, it's a bad idea. So we've reached the point where now an actor comes on and I'm like, wait, I know them from a thing I like, and then I just start reminiscing about the thing I like. So Jonathan Pryce is in Pirates of the Caribbean. I'd rather be watching that. Jonathan Pryce is in Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm a huge fan of the James Bond movies because they're not violent and problematic and misogynistic like Game of Thrones is. And also, Jonathan Pryce is great in The Wife. Yeah, I saw it on a discount day on a whim. It was pretty good. Glenn Close. Nails it. Go see The Wife. Anyway, I like Jonathan Pryce's quote about, I tell people no one is special, and because of that they think I'm special. You're hitting it on the head again, Game of Thrones. Like, that's honestly how I feel about Game of Thrones, is it comes to you and it says, like, nothing matters, everyone's a meat sack, everything's all chaos and anarchy, and people run wild in the streets, and nobody cares about you, and don't believe in anything, and we're all just fucking around, colliding into people, and then we're supposed to revere Game of Thrones for telling us that. Like, wow, you're blowing my mind, Game of Thrones. We do live in a society. Oh, I got 30 seconds to go. Bad editing choice. There was a POV shot through a marketplace. The camera was about 5 feet off the ground, and you know whose POV it was? Tyrion. I'd call that a blooper. And before you say it was Varys was standing behind him, so you would have seen Tyrion's head in front of him. I call bad editing on you, show. It's mostly good everywhere else, but this was bad. Season 5, Episode 4, Sons of the Harpy. The Red Lady tried to get with Jon Snow. I guess he's got a thing for redheads, but he rejected her advances. She gave some speech about how, like, the gods made male and female to create life. Well, let me tell you something. Blow up the binary and get with death. She was all like, oh, Jon Snow, please, finger blast me, ah. And then he said, no, I can't, I'm in love with a dead lady, ah, because he's so fucking awkward. And then as she walked away, she said, you know nothing, Jon Snow. And I was like, okay, so we're all supposed to go, ooh, why'd she say that? And I figured it out. She wields the darkest of magics, known as branding. I summon forth Hot Topic t-shirts! At one point, somebody was like, we must kill the Boltons. And in my head, I pictured Michael Bolton from Office Space and Michael Bolton from my nightmares, just in, like, knight armor and just like, ah, ching, ching, ching. But one of them having a very, very smooth voice. Jaime and Bronn are off to rescue a princess. I hope she's not in another castle. I actually really liked the fight between Jaime and that random guy, and like it worked on me. I had genuinely forgotten that he had the metal hand. I thought it was pretty cool when like you thought he was down and out, and then that sword came down and he was like, what-ting! Haven't seen any Suddenly Wolves for a while. But now we've got Suddenly Stabbing Squad! Those guys with the little horn helmets who just kind of come out of nowhere and... It's not like actual fun, but it's like things that I can enjoy as a silly trope fun, which is kind of how I'm getting my jollies during this whole experience. You know what I can talk about? Dany's dresses? Wow! They're all great. She seriously has a brand new awesome one like every single day. Yes, my queen. Not that I'm sitting here like, if this next dress isn't flawless, I will turn this off. Because I can't, because I'm being paid not to turn it off. I have 4.5 minutes left and I have no idea what to do with it. Oh, Grey Worm. Grey Worm had a fight. Grey Worm got a stabbing right in the side. I can't remember if he lived. Honestly, this show is such a blur to me. Some other old guy got stabbed. Oh, fucking, Jorin It's Joran or Jogan. The guy that was always hanging out with Dany until she said, "Get out of here, you spy." He's kidnapped Tyrion, and I don't know why. Did Tyrion do something to upset Dany and he's trying to get back in Dany's good graces? They'll tell me on the recap, so it doesn't matter. Arya's doing stuff. What is Arya doing? She's in like the chessboard town. They told Arya to like give up her old ways and she went and hid her sword in a rock or something. I really have no thoughts on this one. Genuinely, I have nothing left to say. Dany's dresses. Dany's dresses. Dany's dresses. Dany's dresses. What's it called? Season 5, Episode 5, Kill the Boy! Number 1, let's see. I thought Grey Worm was dead in the last episode, then I wasn't sure, and I was like, maybe he was alive. Then we saw him lying on a bed, and I was like, okay, he's dead, and then I found out he's alive again. Also, I missed our most popular segment. I don't even know what popular is on this show, but I hardly knew ye, which is when a character dies before I can even figure out what their name is. In the last episode, some old robe fucker died, and to be honest, there's like 5 or 6 old robe fuckers on this show. They're usually in like council meetings and, oh, the lads to the north. So he died. I was gonna make it and I hardly knew ye, but guess what? After he died, they said his name like 3 times. It's Barristan the Brown, Barristan the Bold, something like that. So I can't count that one. Dany's dress was looking Elsa AF. I love it and I want it. I got so bored that I wondered, what happens if your clothes get stuck in a dragon's teeth? I'm genuinely asking, because when they go to chew that guy, he is wearing all kinds of raggedy robes. When you're chewing, that's gotta get stuck in your teeth, right? And then I was thinking, well, they're dragons, so they probably do one of these. And they burn it out, but then they've probably got like ash and residue in their mouths, but they're dragons, so they probably don't mind. Anyway, Ramsay and Sansa are a thing now. The whole pairing new groups of people off thing is really starting to like not be as exciting to me anymore. Like, I feel like if it's a combo that makes sense and is interesting, I'm down for it, but it kind of feels like a Saturday Night Live sketch. They're making fun of, this is when Friends was still on the air, and they have an ad that says like, you were there when Ross and Rachel, Monica and Chandler, this, that, the other thing. And then they're like, but this season, Ross and Monica get together. Yeah, we know they're brother and sister, but we're kind of running out of couples. And I always think of that whenever I'm watching a show, and as it's starting to get towards the end, they're just throwing whatever they can at the wall and seeing what sticks. Side note, if Ross and Monica got together on Game of Thrones, that would be Tuesday. So yeah, like you've got Sansa and Ramsay together now, and like Melisandre was trying to put the moves on Jon, and Tyrion and Joran or Jogan or Rogan are hanging out on a boat now. Like, I don't know, I'm really starting to get to the point where I'm like, and he's gonna go be with Dany? Like Tyrion and Dany? What? Well, we gotta try everybody with everybody. Let's talk about the stone men. That's a new thing. I couldn't tell from what they were saying if they're literally made of stone. It looks like it's an affliction, like leprosy or something. So I'm gonna assume that's what it is, and it just looks like a stone pattern. Jordan was like, did they touch you? Okay, then you're fine. And then at the end, he looks and, oh no, I've got the stone markings. So they're basically doing zombies, but they also have zombies. They've got like those skeletons jumping out of the ground and attacking people. So like they're kind of doing 2 kinds of zombies? I don't know. Just do zombies if you want to do zombies. It's kind of bugging me how much this show, it just rips off other things. And I suppose any show does that to a certain degree, because there are certain things that are just tropes, and you can take them and mix them and match them, and you can decide what the rules of your vampire or your alien or your ghost are. And part of me was like, you might as well just do Romero zombies, but I don't know, maybe that's copyrighted or it would feel too obvious. I don't know, I'm curious to see where this Stone Man thing goes. But I don't have high hopes for it. I don't have high hopes for a lot. I mean, I started this show to be honest about it, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like, full disclosure, like, I did not start this to hate on Game of Thrones. I started this because I've heard way too many people say that people are pretending not to like the show, or they just like to, hate on something popular, or they make hating something popular their personality, and I just kind of want to explain to people that, like, there's lots of reasons not to like the show. Like, there's lots of reasons to like the show. I mean, it just depends on who you are and how you're wired, and I'd say that goes for a lot of things. I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. I am trying to explain why this show doesn't work for me and maybe doesn't work for other people. Just put up with a lot of smugness about this show, and I'm just like, all right, fine. I mean, it is kind of funny to me that people are like, well, how can you judge it if you won't even watch it. I'm watching it. I feel the same way. Literally, the first time somebody tried to get me to watch it, they said, oh, you'd love it. It's like super political and complicated. And that was the moment where I had to say, then you don't know me. Like, that is not a selling point for me on a TV show. And yeah, it's just kind of gone from there. Like, people being like, oh, I think you'd like it. You like a lot of nerdy stuff. And I'm like, I do, but there's a difference between plot, genre, theme, structure, like, medium. Like, these are all things that matter. And if they align in certain ways, that often is the marker of whether you're going to like something or you're not. That's my opinion. We welcome yours. Episode 6, Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken. There will be a trigger warning midway through this segment. The lights will turn red. If you need to skip ahead to the next segment, please do. Love ya. See you on the other side. And now that we've got that hanging over our heads, let's try to have fun with the first half. The motto of Game of Thrones. Smacky lie time. What the heck was that? Shapeshifterman is like smacking Arya around and like hits her every time she lies, and then she says she hates the Hound, and he's like, no you don't. And I don't know if there's supposed to be magical properties to what he's doing, or if he just is good at spotting liars. I don't know. She likes the Hound. What a twist. I don't care. There's a Hall of Heads, and he's going to teach Arya how to shapeshift, I think. I didn't know that was a teachable thing, but that's kind of neat. I had another moment of having no idea who the hell I was looking at. There was a pretty garden, and two people were kissing, and I just said, who the hell are both of you? Apparently a Lannister and a Martell, but that's all I know. Also, a trope that I will never not like is the unfinished joke, where either you come into a joke midway and you only get the punchline, or you only get the setup and then you never get the ending. The little song that Bronn was singing, I really want to know the ending. I love a good body song. I hope they pay that off. I'm now looking forward to something getting paid off on this show. They're like, a girl from Dorne, she was sweet as a peach or something, and then like he stopped, and I need to know the ending. I need to know it. Hell yeah, Sand Snakes, they're awesome. Give them a spin-off. Olenna dropping the burns. That little tart joke. Loras has to go to gay court, where they test Loras on being gay. When there are dark topics that we handle differently in the modern world, to show them in the light of how they used to be handled in the past is interesting to me. Like, I had a lot of feelings dredged up about, like, you know, basically queerness on trial, and I really am of two minds, where on the one hand you can watch that and go, it's so terrible that they would do that to him, and like really have your heart go out to him and relate to him. But on the other hand, it can also feel like a message from the show saying, hey, if you're one of these, this kind of sucks, huh? And like, I don't think this is the same as, what we'll be talking about when the trigger warning comes up. I don't think that's quite a one-on-one thing, but still, like, it is kind of hard to want to be just enjoying this fantasy show and then have, like, you know, something very true to your own life come up if you're a queer person. It mildly bothered me. I understood, like, where they were going with it. I mean, obviously, queer struggle can be a thing of joy among queer folk. It's also tense and difficult sometimes. Oh, also, is Loras fucking Iron Fist? I know before I thought Jaime was Punisher. But, like, I didn't realize that Loras was Iron Fist until he grew a shitty Iron Fist beard. So anyway, good to see him working on another show that's mostly just conferences when it should be about cool dragon magic. Burn Game of Thrones. Also burn Iron Fist. Those are two bad shows that guy's in. Get a better agent. Trigger warning coming up. The lights are going to go red. And when they change color, that means it's over. You can skip ahead to this time code. And see you on the other side. Love ya. Take care of yourself. Trying to win Edgelord Bingo again with assault and brainwashing Ramsay Bolton. Technically, he's assaulting two people because he's like brainwashing someone into watching. Definitely not doing it with her consent. She's clearly resisting it. I don't know. The feelings that washed over me were really difficult to deal with. Because again, the camera kind of leering, you know, zooming in on Sansa's face, and then she's looking at Theon. And I know we're supposed to be like, what a horrible thing, and we want this guy to get his comeuppance. but like the shot just held so long, and the music just kept like weirdly. I thought of the composer, and I think maybe it was because I was trying to like distance myself from the scene. But like just in that moment, I was like, wow, can you imagine sitting down at the piano to write the rape music? And I don't know, it was strange. It was a strange set of feelings. And I'm sorry I don't have much profound to say about it other than I don't want to see it. And maybe that's enough for this show sometimes. Like, again, I think it makes a lot of choices that I don't think are the best. I'm going to quote a friend. It's not just rough sex. I don't think they meant it as like wanting me to know what's in this show. I think they meant it as like the viewers need to understand that rape is not just rough sex. I would hope the viewers of this show understand that, but it kind of scares me that maybe a lot of them don't. And the fact that this is the most popular show of all time, I don't think it's fostering these discussions. I think it's just part of the entertainment for a lot of people, and even if you can pat yourself on the back for knowing the difference, there's a lot of people who can't, and maybe I'm blaming the art. 5-7 the gift. 5-7 the gift. I'm not gonna trigger warn this one. I think at this point I just get to quickly say, it happened again and I hated it again. Stop it! Let's see if they stop it. You know what I'm talking about. If you're a fan of the show, you know what I'm talking about. You know what's in there. You know there's a lot of it. I guess it's on you if you think it's well handled. So not gonna trigger warn, and we're just gonna move on. Here I go, trying to be fun about it after it happens. Suddenly a wolf just peeks around the corner ever so slightly, and he's just got the most, hey, I couldn't help but notice that you're having an action scene in here, and it could be a little more exciting. So I don't know if you need anything of the lupine variety, if you know what I'm saying. But I'm here. So if you need anything, I'll just be right here. And then he just backs away again. Depression Beard Tyrion, no thanks. Marjorie's in prison. Cersei pulled some shit on her, and now Marjorie's in prison. But then, to jump ahead, then Cersei got Cersei'd. Yeah, I can see why people like all the scheming. I have so much trouble keeping track of who wants what, but like, it is fun to see someone be like, a loophole. This is definitely a show of loopholes. A show of loops and holes. My wish came true. They finished the song. It was alright. I've made fun of this show for just randomly having kinky roleplay scenarios in the middle of it, and this one is the randomest. Like, out of nowhere, the Sand Snakes are in one prison cell, Bronn's in the other prison cell, and then one of them's just like, hey, you think I'm hot? He's like, what? She's like, well, I poisoned you, so you'll say I'm hot. What was the point of it? like, say I'm sexy. Like, if your goal is to kill him, then why is say I'm sexy, here's the antidote part of it? Because she's just got that energy. That's energy I want. Am I not the most beautiful woman you've ever seen? Poison. It's a pandemic. I miss getting out of the house and poisoning people so they'll say I'm hot. Sam just had sex. Sam finally got to experience the joys of sex after getting punched in the mouth because it's Game of Thrones. Gilly had a thrilly riding his belly. I feel like they're hyper aware of what a silly virgin trope Sam is. When she jumped on his cock and he was like, oh my. Good heavens. I thought it was really cute, but also really sweet, because guess what? Sex feels good, but if you're not used to it, it's weird. It was a sweet moment in a show that has far too few sweet moments. Oh goodness. Let me into your velvet slipper. Okay, I'm gonna feel stupid. There was a line about Bajoran, or whatever the fuck his name is, Jorgen, Jor-El. So anyway, like when Jor-El is getting sold on the slavers block, which, speaking of things that we shouldn't just try to make fun, when Jor-El is getting sold, it said he sold himself into slavery. How does that work? Like, to pay off a debt? I don't know. When I heard that, I was like, wait, how do you do that? And then the other thing was like when Tyrion was like, no, we're a package deal. Let me prove it by kicking the shit out of a guy. And that worked? I thought the last season is when the writing gets bad. Maybe it was always bad. I have 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Friends, I gotta be honest with you. I I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I can't believe there's so much more show that I have to talk about after this. Just kind of zeroing in that, like, here I am watching this thing all alone. I miss friends. I miss having them on the couch. I miss when I could flirt with someone through prison bars, and then she would slip me the antidote after I tell her she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I miss, you know, I miss the romance. Yeah. Loneliness. Season 5, Episode 8, Hardhome. This one rocked my shit! I'm a simple gal with simple tastes, and one of those tastes is a big fucking giant absolutely wrecking zombie shit with a big fucking log. This one was great. Caveat as always with me, it took a while to get great, because again, structurally, these episodes are really weird. Like, zombie fucking battle begins with Arya selling oysters. They get to Wildling Town like 20 minutes into the episode, but then the rest of the episode is there. Just set a whole episode there. I'll be honest, it was kind of creeping up on me. I was like, this one's okay. This one's kind of neat. That was cool. That was really neat. Oh, that's good. Ooh, that's really good. What? Okay, with 5 minutes to go, I like this one. This is a good one. So yeah, in the beginning, Tyrion is going to be Dany's right-hand man now. I think I finally got his name right. Ser Jorah's not allowed to come back to town. Full disclosure, I don't understand what's going on with Arya and the many-faced god stuff. Like, is he teaching her to shapeshift? But he's also like, you have to give your face to the god, and he's like, you must practice your oyster routine every day or something. And like, is he training her to disguise herself as the regular oyster seller? I couldn't follow that. And again, it's entirely possible I'm a dumb. I know that they were planning to form an alliance with the Wildlings, the Night Watch, and the Wildlings working together to stop some enemy. Was that enemy the zombies that they were ambushed by? I know that there was some, mistrust of Jon. And then just when they're about to be like, all right, alliance, hell yeah, they get ambushed. But like, I couldn't quite read the tension on it, because are these the zombies they were hoping to unite against? And now they're like, oh fuck, they're already here? Once the fight started going, I was like, all right, cool. Confession, I like zombie movies, but the actual zombie killing, for my taste, I like, 3 minutes of head crunches, and then Simon Pegg says something funny, or Ken Foree gives a good speech. I'll admit that, like, I like the action, but I did start to get, like, they're zombies, you hit them with a sword. You hit them with a sword, you hit them with a sword, you hit them with a sword. They did mix up the kills a little bit. Also, it looked like they were gonna pull a oneer, which is basically just, like, a really long extended shot. Like, it looked like Jon Snow was, like, running through the Zattlefield. Zombie battlefield, and like he's spinning around and one comes running at him and he's like, bah, your bones now. And yeah, it was really exciting, and then all of a sudden the giant busts out of the cabin and I was like, do it, just do one long take. And then just when I got excited for that, they cut, and then that was it. I was like, no, you were so close. I feel like they were on the verge of greatness. Like I genuinely wonder if the scene was storyboarded to be like, Jon runs, and then, the camera pans over to the giant, and then it pans off of the giant over to this other guy who runs over here, and then this lady with a bow and arrow runs past him and, like, is taking out zombies, but then all of a sudden zombies come in the other way, rush him. We follow the zombies for a little bit, and then, oh, there's this other guy over here. I really, really, really would have loved a sequence like that. But alas, they tease a sequence like that, and then they don't follow through. I hate to always put on that little caveat of, like, I enjoyed it, because everything around it was like being in a business meeting. Everything is business meeting boring, edgelord bingo, or a battle scene. And of those three things, I like the battle scenes, and the rest of this show, well... Oh, before I jump to this, the score was amazing. I I'm about to fail miserably at trying to do it with my mouth, but there was this weird sort of like, it sounded like they were just like doing a filter sweep. Oh man. I love when a score can be like mostly classic, but then just like a little modern element like that. Anyway, I have very little time left, but one of my favorite things in doing sound design is to leave the audience to sit in silence. And this had like the greatest scene where the White Walker does his little come at me bro, and then all of a sudden all the people that have died on the battlefield rise up as their own walkers. And then we are left to sit in silence as they slowly paddle away in a reverse of the shot when they arrived. So it's identically framed. It's a big wide shot of them approaching the village, but when they leave, it's the exact same shot, except now they're going away, and all the people who used to be wildlings are now zombies. And they just leave us to sit in silence at the terror of, well, you came to start an alliance, and you ended up more fucked than when you started. Stew in it. Sit with that feeling. Season 5, Episode 9, The Dance of Dragons. I don't feel like a trigger warning is warranted when we both know what was really gross in this episode, and I don't have much more to say about it other than, less of that, please. Let's move on, shall we? So this one started with the dumbass army led by a dumbass captain. I think it was Stannis. I don't get what the hell's going on here. Like, they just keep talking about, like, we can't go forward, we can't go back, we're going to freeze to death out here. There was no hint at what his larger plan was. He burned his daughter to death at a stake? Oh, by the way, I hardly knew ye. I don't think I ever learned Little Burnface's name before she died. So, Little Burnface, I hardly knew ye. I didn't understand why they did that. They mentioned something about she's king's blood. So I didn't know if there was some weird, like, oh, I can't have the throne because her lineage, some such whatever. That feels like what every other conversation on this show is about. Question, are the Sand Snakes just there to do kinky prison things? Like, this is the second episode where we cut to them doing a little slap play for all you slappers out there, and that's it. It added nothing to the story and made it totally inappropriate for family viewing.
The sexual scenes in Titanic, the gory violence in Gladiator, or foul language in Seabiscuit.
Tyrion had a line about there's a difference between knowing the way the world is and knowing the way the world should be, and that really resonates with Daenerys. Daenerys is a gorgeous queen in amazing dresses who is questioning if the extremely violent entertainment is actually good just because it's popular. Classic Dany. I love a good philosophical discussion, and I've mentioned that why the dialogue is difficult on the show for me sometimes is it's almost always, if there is any discussion of anything deep, it is usually just relating to the next upcoming battle. I really liked the discussion about, you know, how these games are cruel and violent, and it really resonated with me as a discussion that we're having about football right now. It was an interesting parallel, and I like when I can see things about the modern world in the show and find them relatable. It basically seemed like a concussion discussion, and people rebutting with, yeah, but like, it's popular, like, it's, everyone loves it, like, so we're gonna keep having people charge at each other full speed and take brain damage. Why? Because it's American. Ser Jorah has divorced dad energy, and I can't unsee it. I'll help around the house. We're still friends, right? And like that's the vibe Jorah's putting out. It's just like, I know I did bad. I know it. I get it. But like, we can still hang out, right? Like, I got Tyrion for you. Please. There was a one-on-one match, but then when Ser Jorah had his match after that one, some random guy was also allowed to just stab people. So are the rules that anyone can just jump in and fuck shit up at any time? I was confused. I'm not going to rewind it to make sure I understand it better, but were I the director, I would have simply introduced that idea into the previous fight so that it wasn't such a, oh, that's allowed? Maybe it was a 3-person match and I just missed that. I may cut this whole thing out because I don't want to look stupid. The last thing I wanted to say was, suddenly Stabbing Squad! That came out of nowhere. It made me want to go back and see if you can see the Stabbing Squad sitting in the audience. We have the Sir Jorah tension, and then suddenly, whoa, he spears that Stabbing Squad guy, and then they start a-stabbing, but then suddenly Dragon Squad! It's interesting to have Danny as kind of a certain audience member insert. And I'm very curious if the show is kind of coming to a thesis of like, all this stuff is bad. It's in the show because it knows you want to see it. So to show it and then be like, it's bad, you're kind of having your cake and eating it too. I don't know. Fly me away, dragon! Future Billy will edit in a dragon.
Coming Friday.
Whoa! Hey, I want to make a music video and win a Grammy.
Can you sing?
No.
Play an instrument?
Not.
What do you do?
I can set the stage on fire!
Totally hot, dude.
Thanks, Doodad.
Scorch, television's hottest new comedy, premieres Friday on CBS.
Season 5, episode 10, it's Mother's Mercy. Yeah. We have another Hardly Knew-Ye, Burnface's mom. I never learned her name. I think she was Stannis's wife. She's been in the show for a while, but never learned her name, so Burnface's mom, I hardly knew ye. One of the elements that I really loved is a couple episodes ago, they had Sansa, like, palm that corkscrew, and I really liked that, you know, I was like, oh, that's definitely going in Ramsay's neck. And then you see her picking locks with it, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah. That gave me, like, RPG feels. Because, like, in RPGs, all the time you pick something up and you don't know if there's a use for it, and then later you're like, oh shit! Though I will point out that in an RPG, that's almost never planned out. It just happens naturally, but, like, then you get to imagine that it was always part of the plan. Kind of like this show. I know. It's so well constructed, and everything is planned out well in advance. See you for Season 8. I got really fucking confused who was on whose army. Stannis attacked Upside Down Torture Town, but then Brienne was also there. Is that what happened? I don't know. I was confused. There was a lot going on there. Arya killed the pedo guy, who I now know the pedo guy killed Syrio, and I was waiting for a scene where he says, but Syrio's alive! Alas, it did not happen. Arya can do the shapeshift thing, but then, like, I got really confused when some guy was like, you weren't supposed to kill that guy, you must only serve the many-faced god, a life must die for it. And then thud, wait, it wasn't your friend, Mr. Shapeshift, it was just some rando. Mr. Shapeshift is over here. And then Arya starts, like, Mission Impossible 2ing, like, all these faces off the guy. And I'm like, alright, how does this work? Is it mind control? Are you making people think you have that face? Is there an actual layer on the face? I mean, I think they were just trying to convey it for television, and I say boo to their choices. It looked weird. The Sand Snakes continue to be just, like, the hot, kinky squad. What did she say to Braun as she was leaving? You want a good girl, but you need bad pussy? When they were having, like, Sand Snake prison kinky time, and I was like, brr, that doesn't serve the story. There's a clip of me back there going, brr, that doesn't serve the story. But then, like, we find out, oh, okay, the antidote was part of the plot. Gotcha. But from an exposition standpoint, it still was stupid. Like, I'm gonna waste some of this poison and some of this antidote just to fuck with a random guy? Just to be like, hey, tell me I'm hot. Look at these. Look at my titties. Like, Cersei got a quarantine haircut, looking good, girl! And then she was trotted through town, completely naked, while insults and food and shit were hurled at her. And it served the story. That's what I liked about it. It definitely served the story. It definitely just was an excuse for a prolonged sequence of a woman being humiliated naked. It served the story because you could relate to her and how you wouldn't want to be in that position. It served the story. It definitely wasn't anything lascivious for people to just leer at. It served the story. You see, the show is trying to tell us that it's so horrible that she was put in that position, but also the show itself said, hey, let's take Lena Headey and put her in that position. It's just acting. It's just fun. I get it. It's relatable. I can't keep this act up. I just don't get it. It's that sweaty nerd edgelord bingo. Like, yeah, we'll trot her through town and people will waggle their dicks at her and throw shit at her and she'll cry. And the point is that religion is bad, I guess? Is that where they're going with this? Society's bad? I'll admit, it's hard to talk about this while I'm here all alone watching the show by myself. I would like to be able to turn to a friend and be like, what does this scene mean to you? Because it just kind of seems exploitative, and I want to know like what impact this scene is having on you. Like I mostly just sat there going, oh, this is terrible. If this happened in real life, it would be terrible, but like I'm watching a depiction of it and I find the depiction terrible. I don't want to sound prudish, but I also don't want to like support misogyny. Like, I don't know. I'm really curious how we're going to look back on this show. I'm genuinely curious how we're going to look back at scenes like this and just be like, ooh, yeah, no, society kind of needed to just chill out there for a bit. I got 45 seconds left, so the only other thing I can talk about is they say Your Grace on this show a lot, and one of my best friends is named Grace. Love you, Dragon Mommy. And every time someone says Your Grace, I very quickly go, aw, my Grace. And that's just for me. That's just a sweet thing I wanted to share with you, because we need sweet things to talk about on this show. Okay, we're plowing through here. It is time for my season recap. I've finished watching season 5. Oh, let me write that at the top. And now, let me explain to you fine people everything that's been going on. We're going to do things a little differently. I have so much trouble remembering the characters that I'm just going to write them down first, and then we'll figure out all the connections between them later. Okay, so first of all, forget his name, but there's Shapeshifter Guy. Shapeshifter Guy is now working with Arya. He's teaching Arya like how to change her face and stuff, and he's got this weird mission where there's like a gambler guy in town. She's supposed to just be doing the rounds. She's supposed to just keep going around town. So she's just on this recurring mission of just like checking on this guy. So she's just looping around. Meanwhile, oh, season 5's not a character. Let me just put that in a box so I don't confuse myself. So Jonathan Pryce is part of this religious order. Oh, I forgot there's also Wine Boy. They've got like a little symbol on their head. So Jonathan Pryce is part of this religious order, so he goes and basically gives Cersei shit for being a sinner, because the town is now getting like really religious. So he's linked to her. Joran has been separated from Dany, so now Joran says, alright, I'm gonna go on a mission. So Joran goes and gets Tyrion, because he thinks Tyrion and Dany should be together. Now, Varys already had the idea for Tyrion to marry Dany, but no, that's not the position he ends up in. He actually gets brought to Dany as her hand. But here's the thing, Dany doesn't really like the way they're doing things in the city. She doesn't really approve of all the senseless wanton violence. So Dany, with the help of Daario, who is still her lover, she gets the help of Daario to help out with the stabbing squad, who just like, surprise, come out of nowhere. So Daario helps fight the stabbing squad. This is along with Joran. And then she dispatches her dragon. So her dragon gets out there, but unfortunately, her dragon gets stabbed and her dragon is dead, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I couldn't remember if it was just a like, he's tired, but the implication is that he's dead. So we've got that going on. So Brienne is looking for Sansa, I believe. I'm not quite sure what the relationship is between them, but yeah, so Brienne is on the way to find Sansa. There, she teams up with Theon, and Theon finally breaks his brainwashing, okay? And then Miranda up here actually gets thrown off of a balcony. It's pretty nifty. She just falls straight down. Ah! But Ramsay's around. Ramsay has married Sansa, and so she's escaping. So that's why she's so closely linked with Theon. Ramsay, I believe, is doing something with Stannis. I can't quite tell, but yeah, I think Ramsay and Stannis are in cahoots. I don't know, it's hard to tell. A lot of people just wear dusty blacks and I can't really figure it out. But they team up, and then Stannis decides that he has to kill Burnface because of King's blood. I don't know what that means. So then we've got the Sand Snakes down here. So we've got Jaime and Bronn, and they're working together to go rescue a princess. But on the way there, they run into the sand snakes. There's a whole bunch of them. There's a circle of them. So we'll do this little half circle here to represent them getting captured. But they achieve their mission, and they get Jamie's daughter, and they go away with her. The next thing is, so Cersei and Jonathan Pryce, he makes her do the walk of shame. So she has to go all the way around the entire kingdom to do the walk of shame. And then lastly, Jon Snow gets shanked by all the members of the Night Watch. Here they are. And so this guy gets a good stabbing in, and this guy gets a good stabbing in, and this guy gets a good stabbing in. So there's the chart of everything that's happened on season 5 of Game of Thrones. Thank you for following along. I think it's been a really engaging story, and I've followed it every step of the way. And I can't wait to see what's in store for season 6. Confession, I have a DQ Blizzard waiting for me, and I just really want to go eat it, but then I remembered I hadn't done predictions yet. I'll do them quick. Jon Snow is dead! I remember this being a big media thing, that Jon Snow had died, so I hate that I had that spoiled for me. Here's my prediction. He'll come back somehow, but I'm not sure. This could be really the example of, hey, guess what? We will kill protagonists on this show. But here's my guess. We have seen that you can raise people from the dead as White Walkers. I'm wondering if Jon Snow will get raised as a part of the White Walker army, and then someone will find some powerful magic to un-White Walker him, so that he'll still be alive, but he won't be possessed by the zombie madness. It sounds convoluted and dumb, but it's Game of Thrones. Sorry, I'm trying not to be mean. Ever since Tyrion just got broken out of jail incredibly easily, I don't know. I don't have high hopes for like how they get out of things on this show anymore. It's important to note that, like, you know, he's bleeding out. We don't know if somebody's gonna run over and save him. A wolf will run over and nurse him back to health. Sansa and Theon are together. I don't know if they'll get together with Brienne. This show's very much about like moving all the pieces around the board. So maybe they won't get with Brienne, but Brienne will end up with, I don't know, Ramsay. I don't know. I don't even care. You know what? Final prediction. Serial Pharrell is alive. God damn it. Well, that about does it for season 5. Thank you so much to Tara for sending me a sweet treat. Thank you to everyone who supported the show. You'll see all their names in the credits. I'm Claw Billie. Go to bearclawbillie.com to learn more about me. And go to the Patreon if I figured out how to set one of those up. And if you like the music, well, I made it, so thanks for liking it. We'll see y'all for season 6, and as they say on Game of Thrones, a metal hand is stronger than glass. Yep. Bye, everybody!